We're going to hell in a handbasket on that one.
Okay, starting for real.
So bands have life cycles.
It's true.
And band members sometimes do pass away.
Unfortunately.
And that's happened to some of the greatest bands in history. It's happened to every band in history. That's just, we all are born and then we die. That's just the path of this thing on world. And so this came to our attention. There's been a lot of news with Soundgarden right now with the band and Chris Cornell's wife and just sort of legal action back and forth, like who's going to take over the band. Like, so she's offered the band like millions of dollars. They've offered her a settlement. Like publicly, it's come out as a few $100,000, which there's a lot of under the radar things going on with that too. But it just got us thinking, like, what does happen, to a band with the death of a primary member?
Right.
Because like people don't realize that a band is a business.
Yeah, it's a brand.
And Soundgarden is going to be making money for years in perpetuity into the future. So like, what is the fair outcome of this one? We honestly don't know. Like, we hope that Chris Cornell's widow and the children are obviously taken care of and they deserve a fair share at this. I would like to think the band's not trying to like shaft her. I think there's got to be more.
Just reading it, hopefully.
It didn't seem like it.
Hopefully it's all just no one's getting to communicate well.
Like, I read like her lawyer's stuff at first and it was like, it's very, that's what lawyers do. They make everything, these people are the worst people in the world. Sure. They're evil. And press release comes out, and then the band's like, it's not like that. Right. Hold on. The same stuff was sort of happening with the Aerosmith drummer thing.
Right.
That was all. They're all cool now. But no, got us thinking of other people in the past. Like I jumped back to Buddy Holly.
Yeah.
So Buddy Holly, famous young rock star, he gets married to Maria Elena. 6 months later, he's dead. So his estate is entirely goes to her. There's no children. His parents don't really get any of that, obviously, and that's part of the deal. I think Maria's like such a cool cat. Like she hooked that up too, though. But that estate generates what is that? This happened in like 1959.
Right.
This is like where are we now? We're in the year 2064.
Could be.
The robot cat apocalyptic war is over. We've survived it. But no, it's this doesn't end. It goes on for a long time, and so. There is a lot of money on the table. Look at Elvis Presley.
Yes.
That's a huge estate. And there's children. And that was pretty simple. But when you have like a band.
Yes.
It
gets different, right? Things change.
I know. So like Led Zeppelin we're talking about. Fortunately with Led Zeppelin, those guys are such cool cats. And they all love each other. And there was no weird stuff. We don't know what's going on. But like, John Bonham's son joined the band for a little bit. And would help sort of take care of it, and that's what we like to think would happen.
One would think.
But the Soundgarden thing's going to be tricky.
Soundgarden thing will be tricky. Hopefully, though, like you said, that can be amicable, and it'll be interesting to see, do they carry on with another
Well, the idea
singer?
is, yes, there's another record supposedly coming out with sort of like deep fakes of his vocals, because there's some vocal tracks already done of Chris Cornell, and they're sort of like putting music and such to it. The computers allow stuff to happen. There's all the other things that people don't think about is like future earnings from shows, from not just the record sales and like royalties and streaming, which is not as much as it used to be. But if the band wants to sell off the catalog, but it is like future shows. So if they got to do that, she wants to receive some of the earnings from that as well.
So I was going to say, do you think, let's say that going forward, I mean, obviously I think she's entitled to royalties from stuff that Chris Cornell was involved in, the rights to the name, all that kind of stuff. But if they carry on as Soundgarden with a new member, is the estate, what do you think the estate is entitled to from that?
I mean, it's tricky. You could be like, no, but like I think yes, in a strange way. I think, because Soundgarden, like, I mean, they're not Soundgarden without Chris Cornell, obviously. And that's kind of like Queen without Freddie Mercury. Right. There's no Queen. Like, I love Brian May. We all know we love Brian May here at Casino Guitars. But I mean,
Freddie Mercury is the
and Queen has carried on,
right?
And they've done shows, and I think Freddie's estate is still being compensated for this in certain respects, and I'm okay with that because that's just it is a business.
It is a business
in a strange way. It's we look at all these bands, these Motown bands that are still out there, like hey, like this is before COVID, obviously, but I'm gonna go see the Temptations. those are not the original members.
What?
I know, like they'd be like walking around on canes, like my girl, boom. It's not. It wasn't ever that way. Like, I mean, Berry Gordy was ruthless. He would fire members, like, you know, if you had a drug problem, if you weren't the right height, if you upset the assistant, like, you just had to be like, it was being a temptation. You just had to fit that suit and fit that mold, and like that's how it worked. It was not
right.
And it's still, the Temptations still tour today, and it's a contracted gig where like you become a member of the Temptations, you're paid royalties. The bulk of the share goes to not the performers, but to the estate of that. Whoever owns the rights to that. Like there's the Diamonds and there's not the Supremes, because that was like a huge level too, but kind of like the Temptations. But we had our one superstar, Diana Ross, and stuff, so that's different. But it's all these bands, these doo-wop groups from the 50s and 60s and the 70s, like they continue with new members, and it's a business, and it goes back. And there's lots of tribute acts that are actually connected with the main the artists. Like there's a great Chicago tribute act out of Canada, and they're actually a feeder for Chicago.
Right.
The band, because these musicians they can do everything that Chicago does, but it's like when Chicago needs a new member, poof, that's where it comes
like
from.
Like the minor leagues.
It is like the minor leagues, and these guys make $15,000 a night for an hour and a half show.
Which is all right.
That's what the band gets paid. It's not like it's chump change here. It's pretty amazing. Backline taken care of, per diems taken care of, housing at a 4-star to 5-star hotel taken care of. It's a great gig. You can actually make a living. You might not be famous, but you can make a living doing this. And that's why there's so much battle over what happens. Because this is not going to be over in 5 years. Like there could be a Soundgarden tribute things spawning for decades.
Yeah, absolutely.
That will affect these kids, and the kids members of the other Soundgarden members. You know, like it is funny, the fact that we're talking about Soundgarden, and that's how this works.
That is how it works.
Because they're a grunge band. You know, and I sort of think of them as like punk of the '90s.
Right.
But now we're talking about this in like a very business way. I got so sad when Kurt Cobain, you know, when he passed, and his guitar, like when his daughter got separated or something, the guitar went to like her ex-husband. I'm like, that's so weird.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure they're amicable, I guess. I think but it's Kurt's guitar.
Right.
It's or like Skinner's another tricky one, because that band got wiped out pretty good.
Not so much of the original folks left when you see Skinner now, which we talked about. That's a whole different video. Is it or is it not? But yeah,
it kind of is,
right.
You know, in a weird way. Just like, I come to think about it, it definitely is.
There's a bit of a lineage there.
It's but it is a business at the end of the day. And like they have to. That's where I hate they have to get these lawyers involved.
But we're talking when you get to that level, it's real money. It's big business. Think of the Eagles.
Right. I mean, the Eagles are monsters about it, and not the nicest, friendliest band story ever. I think the nicest Eagles ever is happening right now.
That's probably true.
We got Vince Gill, and
probably the most harmonious relationship
and like
ever.
The best players. You know,
Probably,
you got Vince Gill in your band, for goodness sake. That guy shreds in every way.
They're like, we're just happy to be here.
No, it's tricky though, because it's, you know, besides all the future forecasting and money, but like the main money is like if they sell the catalog, which everyone's doing now, like down the road. Like if, let's say, like you take a low fee right now, and then like they sell the catalog, you're out, and that's that. And like from what I've read, I don't think anyone's trying to kill each other. I think this is what happens when you get lawyers involved.
Just try to sort it out. You got to sort it out.
And the sharks get in the sea, and then it gets things tangled. The PR machine goes out, and the tears, and it's just, you know. But if you love Soundgarden, like, just to send some good thoughts to this thing, because we want to see, like, we would love to see what comes out of any of the recordings that were not heard yet, and what the band's doing with it.
Yeah.
And like this bad mojo goes away soon, so they can get back to making art.
Yes.
And music, because it's a good band there. You know. Yeah. I mean, I feel bad about Chris Cornell now. I just had like a Chris Cornell moment.
Now we're depressed.
Now we're sad. Anyway, but yeah. So that's kind of like the idea of like. So we're fascinated to see where this ends up. Stay tuned. We're gonna follow up with this a little bit later as this wraps. It's fascinating, and that's how this works. It's a business. It's, you know, you think you start this little band with like your 3 buddies in the garage, and then you never know. Like years later, you're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars in future earnings. It's insane.
I imagine too, it's morbid to say this, but a lot of our sort of favorite iconic bands, they're all at that age where this starts becoming more of a reality.
Well, God, I didn't even think about Jimi Hendrix is like one of the main ones that I forgot to mention. Like the Jimi Hendrix estate is very involved in like business we deal with, like with Fender and whatnot. They, there's Jimi Hendrix strings, there's Jimi Hendrix Fender custom shop guitars, there's Jimi Hendrix production, there's Jimi Hendrix Mexican built.
Cables, all kind of stuff, yeah.
And like usually the stuff with the Jimi Hendrix brand is a little bit more expensive. That's because there's a fee being paid to the estate to market. It's not necessarily a better cable.
Right.
It's not like a better guitar, but it's got Jimi Hendrix's like name on it, and so you're paying that estate.
For that.
And the Jimi Hendrix estate is pretty persnickety about what they let happen. That with Andre 3000, the movie, Jimi Hendrix movie, they didn't let there be any Jimi music, right? Nope. It's crazy. You watch that the only music he plays is the Beatles song, right? Like Sgt. Pepper's or something. Like, not to spoil the movie, but Andre 3000 crushed that.
How cool would that movie have been with?
It was so close.
Hendrix stuff.
It was almost a good movie. It was a good movie,
but it could have been
a really good movie. Yeah. Not great, but it just needed the Hendrix music. Yeah. It's weird to see a Hendrix movie without Hendrix.
Like, wait. Well, yeah, okay.
That'd be like a Beatles musical without Beatles music. No, I'm just going to do the Monkees. And I love the Monkees, so don't worry. Davy Jones, God rest your soul, you're the man. I was going to go deep into the Monkees and start talking about all the Monkees members because I like them all.
Jimi Hendrix did open for the Monkees.
Which is wonderful.
Full circle.
Disaster
It was horrible. We should talk about that one day.
I mean, we just did, but we'll talk about the worst opening pairings. That's a good video idea right there. It just happened.
Done.
This is the brain trust
Mark it down.
forming.
You saw it in real time.
We're going to shoot that literally in 5 minutes now. No, not. We have to actually do research on that.
Probably a little bit.
Because we just know that one. That's it. Kind of like it's a big money game. Let us know if you had any experience with this. If you are a member of Soundgarden and you'd like to comment below, that'd be great. We had someone on one of our videos like commenting as Brian May the other day, and it wasn't Brian May. It was sort of a sad moment. It's
Unless it was Brian May pretending to be fake Brian May.
Yeah, that would have been really cool. Maybe Brian May's that much. He's deep faking
layers
himself.
Within layers. It's like peeling an onion.
God, who knows? Who knows? But yeah, so if you're a Soundgarden Catholic, we'd love to hear what you're saying out there too.
So there you go. Let us know what you guys think in this situation, whatever situation you want to bring up about bands when members pass away or are, no longer involved. We'll see you guys next time. Hit like and subscribe if you haven't. Click the bell so you don't miss videos in the future. Thank you so much.